fabricator. I believe these fabricators are public and will function like current refineries. They will have a demand cost just like the refineries do now, so the more orders people put in, the more the game will charge you. So you'll want to know where all these fabricators are and the correct size one so you can limit costs by going to the ones with the least demand and with the most time to craft bonuses. Now, if you selected the location, you can then plan how you will get the refined resources to this location. So after you have a blueprint, you will then know what resources you need to start, and you will need to plan out where you can get the resources to start refining. So refining would be the obvious next step in the loop that needs to be planned, because you will need stations like you will for crafting to refine the item based off of your chosen blueprint. This turns gatherable items into craftable material. The question is, will this use the existing refinery system or add more to it? Currently, refining takes a long time and is done at stations. If the system is used, you'd have to transport the refined materials to wherever you go to build or craft. We know there will be ships with refining capabilities, which would help with this time sink, but in general, refining into material to then be fed into a manufacturer or building that builds items is another step lots of games take, but is it really necessary? It adds complexity and realism. I mean, you don't just chop up your veggies for a stew and they magically appear in the pot. There's a transport aspect as well. Adding all these steps into the actual crafting loop is more immersive, but also time consuming, and gathering will also add to this time. As for gathering in Star Citizen, this will be and is a gameplay loop where you mine, forage, hunt, buy, or loot for resources, but they will add quality to the items you are collecting. This is important for crafting because if done correctly, it adds depth and choice to players. It will also be used to add risk versus reward. You will probably get a higher chance of getting high quality gatherables in a PvP or dangerous PvE area. This is important for crafting because how you gather is a big part of how you value the end product. The main ways to get minerals will be to mine. Currently, this is broken down into 3 types of mining, and at least 2 of them are known to have their own types of resources. For instance, hand mining currently only provides crystals or diamonds, but ship mining provides minerals such as like iron or bexlite. Base building will have ground resources, and that appears to overlap with ship mining. The other main way to gather is to forage, hunt, and farm. This will also be what you would expect. You either grow or go find plants and kill or farm animals. For each type of gatherable, you will have an option to obtain them by having a base or going out and exploring for it. I am very mixed on how I want this balanced. Will bases give you more than going out and gathering, or will you get more by exploring and looking for it? How they balance it will determine which one is done more, as well as the risks for both. But we know base building will provide limited underground materials. This can include gases, and it appears that if you build a base for the sole purpose of the underground material, it will have a limited amount, and that will cause you to move your mining base around from time to time. And this will be based on the supply and a respawn rate of these underground wells. These can also be contested on a regular basis if in an unlawful system. And on top of that, we don't even know how long these resources will last, nor do we know the rarity, but in a PvP system, I believe and hope they will have more rare resources because of the risk. But because of the PvP, things can be destroyed. This means base building items will need to be continuously crafted, adding to the demand of crafting items for building new bases, or to repair the ones that get attacked or damaged. But why even have crafting in-game? It seems in games today it's just around to slow the player down, or it's in the game just so they can add it to their marketing or advertising and say we have it too. But well thought out crafting can make a game more immersive and feel like you are interacting with it when done right. The reason we enter into a crafting loop is because it can provide more value and fun to the actions we do outside of crafting. Crafting for the sake of crafting would be like doing dishes just because, even when you don't have a need to clean any. As an example of this loop I'd like to see in Star Citizen is you decide to do a mission that has you take out, let's say, the new sandworm they showed off, but you need armor-piercing rounds to do any real damage to it. So you enter the crafting system to fill this need, to get that ammo, to kill it. And you do this because it's not reasonable or cost-effective to just buy the ammo needed, at least lawfully. And once you make it, you re-enter the rest of the game and are able to kill the sandworm, which then gives you material to make other items like maybe armor that is weak to armor-piercing ammo, but takes very little damage from energy weapons and non-armor-piercing rounds. And this would allow you to go farm something else that deals energy damage, for example, maybe a player. But the important part of this is you did not just go to buy it with the risk of the law. You felt it best to be crafted because it was not worth buying, and crafting was the better alternative for the average player. So the main question for a crafting system is both simple and complex. And that question is why? Why do I want to spend my time on this part of the game? What does it add to my experience? And can I get the same thing an easier way without the need of the benefits from crafting? For this, a few things will be needed to make the game's crafting system good. And I see this mostly as a balance between supply and demand. There will always be bots in a multiplayer game where you can win or lose. Whether that is bots farming items, saturating the market with purchasable items, or goods. How will CIG deal with this everlasting issue? Personally, I don't know, and I would like to hear your suggestions in the comments below. But the main way I have seen this combated is to have a price floor, meaning that the NPCs or CIG will have control of the minimum price of a good. And if you were to ever go under that price, then the NPCs soak up that extra resource. But this can cause a lot of issues and cause a black market to emerge, increasing real money transactions or just mass inflation due to the inflated money supply from the NPCs just printing money. And in some cases, it's both of those. So at this point, we know why we should craft, and that's because it is the best way to fix an issue we are having in-game. And if we can lose items, then CIG just needs to focus on supply and demand, so we can all win and all lose, while still enjoying it. But as I said earlier, blueprints will be the deciding factor in all of this. Please put all of your comments down below and let me know if you guys want to